Happy New Year! This video came about absolutely by accident and coincidence, and well, I don't believe in accident or coincidence, I believe in universal direction, where on having a conversation with a good friend of mine last night, Stephanie, about this, then to get a message from a patient of mine today about this, asking if I could talk about this in one of my videos, I thought, okay, I have to. So here we go. I thought I would talk tonight about ritual and tradition and the importance of these things in our lives. And particularly, this is one that's called, in German, it's, and my pronunciation will be awful, I'm sure, Rauhnachten, okay, basically, Rauhnachte, which is basically, it translates as rough night, which doesn't make you think like you want to have any of those. I'm not sleeping rough tonight, if I can help it, but really, and a lot of people do, bless their cottons, but it's just, it's the translation of, other nice translation of it is the Holy Nights. And these are the 12 nights from Christmas to New Year, okay? Now they start at 12 o'clock on Christmas Eve and they go until 12 o'clock on the eve of, on the 5th of January, the end of the 5th of January, that night. Okay, now these are considered the 12 nights of Christmas. And they also considered the darkest nights, okay? Even though they're a whole day, they're still considered the nights. And that is because the Celtic calendar originally only had 354 days, okay, as, in its calendar. And we now have the Roman calendar, which is 365 days. So there's a whole 12, 13 days that are missing. And these are the times. And it's an interesting time this time. We've just had Christmas, okay? Or we are in the middle of it when you start it. It's Christmas Eve and you have Christmas in it. And then it's this kind of silent period up until basically Epiphany, okay? Or Wassail, all right, as I would like to call it. So it's this whole time, which is an interesting, this in history, and it's been, you know, religion has taken its toll on it. But the actual, if you go back to Celtic times, which is why Christianity took this up in its own right, it was a time when families would get together. It's a time for like really taking stock of your year, which is interesting because we do that, don't we? We look back and go, what did this last year mean to you and mean to me? And this was an interesting year for the entire human race, okay? So it's a really, you know, this is certainly an interesting year to look back on. It's also, this time, of course, is a time when we start to make New Year's resolutions. And okay, what would I like for the next year? And how am I going to bring that into fruition, etc., etc., and put your wishes and intentions. But there's so much more to it with this rough night rituals, which they do. Okay, now each of the days would mean something. Okay, for example, on the 24th, on Christmas Eve, one cleans the locks and the keys in the house, okay? On other nights like tonight, the 31st of December and the 1st of January is the most auspicious time for fortune telling, for reading. So it's a time to bring out your oracles, or in my case, you know, these are my choice is the runes. You know, this is who, you know, these are the ones that I like. You know, these guys. And this, interestingly, is some runes made by my dad. Bless his cottons, because it is a time of year when, a little bit like Samhain and Old Souls, is when spirit is closest, when we can actually work with other dimensions. This is the time. This is that stillness. The winter silence is that time when we consolidate, we check in, we check out, we see what's been going on this year, what we want to bring to fruition. We banish negative energy and we hope and we wish for the new positive energy to come in, okay? So there's various things that one needs to do. Now, the actual name, Rauhnachte, and I'm very sorry to all my beautiful German friends and Austrian friends out there, they'll be very upset with my pronunciation. I did fail my GCSE German, unfortunately. But what it means, the Rau bit means smoke. Okay, now it's interesting because one of the major rituals that you do at this time of year is you fumigate your house with this. So I have some things here just to show you. One of the things is smudging, okay? This is sage for smudging. That's one thing. You can just like that and go around burning and burn your house. I used to do a lot of smudging in Cyprus because they would smudge in the churches. They'd use olive leaf and various things and frankincense, okay? So here we have, this is the most amazing thing, pine resin. Oh my God. Pine resin is so amazing. Now, for this particular ritual, I have it written here what each of these are specifically within this with it burning is. So pine is very good for banishing evil spirits. Okay, we'll have a little bit of that in there. Okay, great. And of course, I've also got a little bit of myrrh here. A little bit of myrrh. Myrrh is very good for purifying. Okay, fabulous. You can use also thyme is very good for cleansing. You can use, like I said, sage is the best for cleansing. Juniper will drive away negativity. Here we go. And my ultimate favourite of all is frankincense, which brings bright blessings and increases energy, which, God, we need that going into 2021. So according to this tradition, there are certain nights that you basically go round and you cleanse and you smudge your house, okay? Firstly, you clean out, you just throw away things you no longer serve you that you don't want to take into the new year, okay? And then you have to cleanse the space and banish the space of evil spirits, open the doors, open the windows, and to allow in and welcome the positive and the good spirits that are going to help to walk with you in this year ahead, okay? So it's a really, it's a great ritual to do, to cleanse yourself and your surroundings of what no longer serves you, okay? So that's a big one. I mean, that is a major thing that they do that, yeah, like I said, so tonight and tomorrow night is really good for fortune telling. They call it St. Thomas's night as well, which is supposed to be the night of Thomas, they call it, which is the night of love. Which is interesting with the New Year's Eve kissing that everybody always does. Also of marriage and of family. Now, even if you're on your own, this New Year's Eve, which is happening to a lot of people, just imagine how you would like things to be. Okay, now there's so much potency in this time. There's so much potency, there's so much promise in this time, and it really, we can cultivate this energy and to bring this energy forth, because really that is what we truly have the power of, is our intention right now. So to focus our intention, to focus our own inner light, to cultivate our own inner light and to shine it in the direction that we want it to go. You know, how do we want our next year to come for ourselves? You know, how do we want it for our community? Like, really dream the world up of how you wish it to be, and we'll send it out there to the universe. And every little step we do along the way will bring us closer to that. Let's all do this. You know, everything is in our own hands. We do have the power to do this, okay? So it's interesting that you throw everything out that you no longer serve you, you smudge the house and you banish negativity. On the 5th, which is a very interesting one, is the one where you really do the big cleanse in the house. Now, I've done several smudgings of my house during this time, but actually the major one is going to be on the January the 5th, which is when you smudge and you make sure that everything you don't want to serve you for the next year is out of the house. And that's equally when you bring down the Christmas decorations, which is interesting to know where that tradition comes from. And then you expel all last year's stuff and you welcome in the new positive light of the year ahead. Now, I always find it quite lovely that it is then followed on the 6th by Epiphany, okay, which is, of course, the celebration of the baptism of Jesus when he was 30. Now, according to some sources, that's 30 was the age that what we call a Saturn return, and that was the age when Jesus Christ was given, like, in essence, the knowledge of God came through him on age 30, which is why he only lasted 3 years, because one can only contain that amount of knowledge for that shorter period of time. But either way, it's a very auspicious time. It's also known as the Three Kings Feast, and it's also known as Wassail. Now, Wassail is something that I practice, and I absolutely adore, and I practice this with my family. What we do is we get little I couldn't find it before, but we get little boats which we make out of walnuts. We put candles in it and we float it on a little bit of water, and we see which blows to the edge to see who gets the prophecy, which I write these every year, and usually on this night, tuning into the good old extra energies going on, and see what fortune it brings. And certainly for my friend Siobhan, yeah, it brought you some good fortune last year, so I'm very, very pleased for that. Wassail means good health, okay? It's a time of good health, and that is following from this whole 12 days, and on the 13th day, we celebrate. We celebrate our health. We celebrate our abundance in all ways, you know, abundance of society, of humanity, our abundance of nature. You know, we are so lucky to be on this planet. We have so much available to us, you know, so much goodness. So just calling in all of that beautiful, loving energy. Okay, yeah, really, and just cultivating our own light. Yeah, that's what this is about. It's deep emotional work, really. You know, I'm giving you a real brief here, but it's deep emotional cleansing work that's needed to be able to purge ourselves of things that no longer serve us. And it's not just things around, it's actually like feelings and attitudes and judgments and this stuff that just, we don't need this stuff, you know. It's like, it's been a very interesting divisory year in many ways, and there really has to be, we can all certainly work on some form of unity and some form of forgiveness and forgiveness of ourselves, and to release this lack of acceptance that maybe has been a theme of this year. So yeah, there's lots of this work to do. It is a really fundamental tradition. That's why ritual and traditions are so important. Usually they're passed down by the generations, and they're so important to have this, to see how we are meant to do things, you know, because this ritual and the way of the tradition and the layers that are unfolded and weaved through society are actually what make up society, what make up community, that, you know, you learn from your elders and you learn these are the ways. And the reason that these are the ways is because these are the ways that work. It makes sense to clear yourself of what no longer serves you, to go into the new year afresh with bright eyes and bushy tails, and off we go, and let's make this the divine loving world that we know it can be and that we want. So let's do it. So here we come, a-wassailing amongst the leaves so green. Here we come, a-wassailing amongst the leaves so green. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. God bless you, and sending you a happy new year. Really sending you the brightest blessings for a wonderful new year. Clean out the old. Let's get rid of this. Bring in the new. Really, let's make this the most positive that we can. Brightest blessings to you.